On this continent, 9 out of 10 people are just one-star emperors. The difference between just one star is an insurmountable gap, like an abyss. For each star, you may practice for tens of millions of years to reach it. Every time you upgrade, there will be an emperor tribulation. After the emperor tribulation, the upgrade will be successful. Once it fails, the heavy one will fall and the light one will be seriously injured. Generally speaking, it takes 1,000 years for ordinary people to rise from 1 star to 2 stars, 4,000 years for 2 stars to rise to 3 stars, and 10,000 years for 3 stars to rise to 4 stars. The rise of 4 stars to 5 stars depends on their own creation. Above 5 stars, there are very few legendary beings in the entire Duty continent. You can imagine how difficult it would be to become more Duty. But there is also an exception, and that is the advance of the Imperial robbery. That is to say, if you bring luck and opportunity between each star, you can encounter the Imperial tribulation in advance. But this possibility is too small and too small. In the history of the entire Duty continent for tens of thousands of years, there are only dozens of people who rely on the early arrival of the Imperial tribulation to upgrade their level. What's more difficult is that even if you meet the Emperor in advance and want to pass, I'm afraid it's not something ordinary people can do. The advance of the Imperial robbery will produce a kind of Imperial demon. If there is no help from the strong, and you are alone, I am afraid that no one will be able to pass. Therefore, most people still work hard to improve themselves after thousands of years of practice. Of course, there are also magic cultivators who quickly improve with unique cultivation methods. Because of the extreme evolution of vindictiveness, it has also led to the differentiation of many alternative cultivators outside the main line of vindictiveness. For example, the Demon Clan is a new cultivator nation, but the demon cultivators are still spurned by the world because they use inhumane cultivation methods. Naturally, it also makes the mainland not so calm. The Duty continent is extremely vast, and there are also many unknown Warcraft families and various mysterious families. Because of family reasons, when the family perishes, it may hide the secrets created in his life somewhere, waiting for someone to take it. In the Duty continent, there are also a few strong people who rely on this kind of adventure to promote themselves. In the world of vindictiveness, the vindictive continent is not the only interface. It can be said that this world is like a galaxy, composed of many planets, and the vindictive continent is just one of them. Therefore, this world brings together fighting emperors from different space interfaces. Except that the vindictive continent has exhausted the source of the emperor, there are still new fighting emperors born at different interfaces, coming to this world where fighting emperors are gathered, constantly providing fresh blood and power to this world. In short, this is a continent full of miracles and miracles. At this time, the place where Xiao Yin was located was called Dizhou, just like the Gamma Empire on the vindictive continent. But the size of its territory, even the most prosperous Zhongzhou on the vindictive continent, could not be compared with it. There is also an introduction from the old man in the information. The old man's name is Guan Fongming, and people call him Emperor Ming. His strength is 3-star fighting emperor, and he is the best among the strong in Dizhou. Xiao Yin had just finished learning all the information, and suddenly, Emperor Ming suddenly pushed Xiao Yin and stood in front of Xiao Yin, frowning and drinking. Be careful. A sharp palm wind mixed with the sound of breaking the wind directly oncoming. A trace of coldness flashed between Emperor Ming's eyes, and the powerful aura of Emperor Ming Do suddenly burst out, and the handle was a palm, which directly resolved the sudden attack. Xiao Yin stabilized his breath for a while, and the power of his soul suddenly shot in all directions. Under the power of the soul of the Imperial realm, what creature could escape Xiao Yan's search? Xiao Yan frowned, and his figure suddenly rushed up without fear. Emperor Ming saw Xiao Yan rushing up without saying a word, and his expression changed slightly. This kid, He is so courageous. While Emperor Ming muttered, Xiao Yan's figure had already become huge, surrounded by several fire dragons. Xiao Yan's huge palm hit the trees directly under him, and immediately, several figures flew out in embarrassment, suspended in front of Xiao Yan and the two of them. Obviously, they did not expect that Xiao Yan would shoot so quickly. Behind Xiao Yan's Wanzhong body, Emperor Ming looked at Xiao Yan's offensive and couldn't help laughing a few times. Sure enough, he is a member of the Xiao clan, and he will always be so belligerent. The two boys in the back, come out. As soon as Emperor Ming's voice fell, two people wearing the same costumes as Emperor Ming appeared out of thin air behind him, their breath far above Xiao Yan. Emperor Ming looked at the two people behind him and said angrily, "You two little guys. You originally wanted to come out and try your skills, but you were the first. Come on, let me see who dares to be so bold." Xiao Yan couldn't help but be taken aback when he looked at the two people behind him. He was followed by two people behind him, but he didn't sense it at all, which made Xiao Yan suddenly feel a lot. On this continent, he is no longer the strongest, but has become very weak, helpless. He had to shake his head and smile bitterly, and then immediately looked at the few people who suddenly attacked in front of him. "Isn't this old man Ying? Are you bold? Why? Do you want to attack us, even if the Emperor is here?" Among the several figures, the oldest one took a step forward, handed over to Emperor Ming, and said, "Emperor Ming, we have no intention of attacking you. We are only interested in this kid. I hope that Emperor Ming will make it convenient for us to take this kid. Go." After speaking, he pointed his finger at Xiao Yan. "You want to rob him? Don't blame me for not telling you. This kid is from the Xiao family, and it's not something you can provoke. If the Xiao family comes to the door in the future, I'm afraid you won't be able to eat it. And old man Ying, you dare to call out in front of me with 5 mere 2-star emperors?" Emperor Ming looked at the embarrassed figures in front of him unhurriedly. The old man named Ying's face changed slightly, and it could be seen that he still had some scruples about the Xiao clan, and he took a step forward and said incredulously, "Oh, is that so? Is he from the Xiao clan? Do you take the people of the Xiao clan with you? You're obviously fooling me. Besides, what about the 2-star duty? This kid is just a 1-star duty. Why don't you give him to us? Old man Ming, and everyone is safe? How about?" Emperor Ming stared and shouted, "Make friends with your sister? You climb away from me. Your Yimo sect is not my opponent in Tianmingu." When Ying heard this, he was furious. If you're not an opponent, you have to grab it. This kid has Qianhua in his body. Even if he is desperate, he has to grab it. Brothers, do it. Qianhua, the heavenly fire in their mouths, may be the strange fire in their bodies. It seems that the strange fire in their bodies has been discovered by these people. Xiao Yan's eyebrows tightened. He didn't expect these people to find out the existence of their own strange fire so quickly. "I didn't expect your kid to have Tianhua. Boy, be careful," Emperor Ming said softly. Xiao Yan didn't flinch at all. On the contrary, the light in his hand shook, and a colorful ruler was held in Xiao Yan's hand. "Tianhua Henggu ruler. This is the ancient ruler of Tianhua Heng." Unexpectedly, this kid actually understood these weapons. The people around were shocked. It seemed that he regarded the strange fire on his body as some kind of heavenly fire again. Xiao Yan rushed up without saying a word, because he felt the killing intent of several people. And naturally, he would not be merciful. Ming Yan's palm. The two people who followed Emperor Ming seemed to be unable to rely on their temper. One of them shouted loudly, and a huge golden handprint formed in the air. With one palm, the other person was directly beaten and vomited blood and hurriedly retreated. Xiao Yan also directly hit them and retreated again and again. The three of them joined forces to repel a few people in a short while, and several of them did not exert their full strength. They all seemed to be afraid of the Ming Emperor who stood behind Xiao Yan. The name of Tianhua is really true. Today is really an eye-opener for the old man. Emperor Ming did not make a move, but watched Xiao Yan fight with a smile on his face, and immediately raised his head and smiled. The old man named Ying's face was a little ugly. Now the opponent has two two-star fighting emperors who suddenly appeared, plus the Ming Emperor with the strength of the three-star fighting emperor, and Xiao Yan, who is much stronger than he expected. Obviously, there is no chance of winning on his side. We will grab Tianhui sooner or later. Boy, we will see you later. Let's go. The old man, Ying, snorted coldly. Although he had several two-star emperors, he had a three-star emperor sitting in front of him. No matter what he said, he was not their enemy. Ying knew that he could not compete with him, so he had to issue a withdrawal order, and then disappeared into the space. Always waiting, Xiao Yan was smiling, and he didn't have the slightest fear of the cruel words of the old man, Ying. Seeing a few people leaving, Xiao Yan slowly recovered. This battle was obviously not happy. At this time, Emperor Ming stood with his hands behind a few people and smiled at the two people who suddenly appeared. You two boys, just follow me all the time to find a chance to find your hands? The two of them smirked twice in the face of Emperor Ming. Emperor Ming pointed to Xiao Yan and introduced him to the two people behind him. This is the only fighting emperor in the vindictive mainland for thousands of years. Xiao Yan, a member of the Xiao clan. Immediately, he pointed to the two of them and introduced them to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan, these two are the most proud disciples of my valley. They have just been promoted to the two-star emperor. The cold-faced one is the great disciple Yinfeng, and the honest-looking one is the second disciple Xiong. I originally wanted to follow and show off my skills, but I didn't expect you to be the first. Come on, let's get to know each other. Xiao Yan handed over his hand and said, Meet the two seniors. Yinfeng just waved his hand, while Xiong was much more enthusiastic, holding up Xiao Yan's hand and smiling. Little brother Xiao Yan doesn't have to be polite. Xiao Yan nodded and thanked him. Thank you, senior. Which one who appears in front of Xiao Yan is not his senior now. Even the worst one has to be called a senior. After all, he is the only fighting emperor after 1,000 years. So his seniority is the lowest, and his strength is not as good as others. In this continent, strength is also respected. Emperor Ming nodded and then said, Xiao Yan, it seems that your whereabouts have been exposed. We have to go back quickly so as not to cause more unnecessary trouble. What Emperor Ming said, Xiao Yan began to wonder the moment those people appeared. What kind of force was the other party, able to know his whereabouts so quickly and so accurately? Why are they so concerned about such a small one-star emperor? Who leaked his whereabouts? While Xiao Yan was thinking, Emperor Ming grabbed Xiao Yan's shoulder and flashed a strange stone in his hand. With a shock of light, the four of them disappeared over the forest. Tianmingu is located on the top of a mountain called Demai Mountain, leaning down from the sky. The clouds and smoke are filled with clouds, and a rainbow hangs in the air. The mountain peaks are divided into several layers, namely Xingxingtai, the competition field, the promotion hall, and the fighting skills palace. These places all have their own unique scenery. These four major buildings are amazingly magnificent. They are undoubtedly the most magnificent buildings in Tianming Valley. Other general houses also have their own characteristics. The houses are circular in shape. Each house has a strange formation. It can be seen that this formation is used to assist cultivation. It is a world of difference from those on the vindictive continent. Even the ancient races have never owned such a luxurious building. People come and go in Tianming Valley, and there is a constant voice of exchange. At this time, at the top of the mountain in Tianming Valley, a few rays of blue light flashed, and the figures of Xiao Yan and the others suddenly appeared above the mountain. As soon as they appeared, someone rushed over, obviously afraid of some enemy invasion. There are 5 major forces in Dizhou, namely the Xiao clan, Tianmingu, the Extermination clan, the Magic Demon clan, and the Yimo sect. These 5 major forces each occupy one side. Except for the good relationship between the Xiao clan and Tianmingu, the other forces are tit for tat, snatching resources, and the relationship is naturally not very harmonious. So the protective measures naturally cannot be relaxed. Meet the Ancestors. A few people stared at it, And the person who came was Emperor Ming, and immediately leaned down to meet him. Emperor Ming waved his hand, indicating that they did not have to be polite, and immediately asked, "During the time I have been out, has anything happened in the valley? Recently, it seems that several major forces are about to move. When I came back just now, the Yimo sect actually made a blatant move. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Either they're coming for Xiao Yin, or the real purpose is to come for Tianminggu." This inevitably made Emperor Ming a little worried. In the days when the ancestors left, they did have conflicts with some forces. But fortunately, the opponent's forces were not too strong. With the help of Elder Xiao, these forces were finally repelled. Among them, the two major forces of the Yimo sect and the Magic Demon Clan participated, and the rest were small groups of small factions, all of which came from mineral sources. But none of them posed any threat. Several people stood up, and between the three men, a man in the middle stepped forward and handed in his report. Hearing the two major forces of the Yimo sect and the Phantom Demon Clan, Emperor Ming frowned for a while, and after thinking for a while, he said to Xiong Yuan, who was standing behind him, "Xiong Yuan, you first take Xiao Yin to visit, and I will deal with something." Xiong Yuan nodded, and Emperor Ming took the three of them away. And Yin Feng behind him also left one after another. "Xiao Yin, let's go. I'll take you to visit Tianming Valley." Xiong Yuan smiled honestly and said to Xiao Yin, who was still watching the surroundings, "Standing here, Xiao Yin saw the whole picture of the entire Tianma mountain range clearly, a mountain range composed of countless mountain peaks, winding and circling, looking in the air like a bone dragon, full of domineering aura. Well, Senior Xiong Yuan is in trouble. Xiao Yin thanked him. He also wanted to see how this duty continent was different from the vindictive continent. Xiong Yuan smiled and nodded. "If brother Xiao Yin doesn't dislike it, let's be brothers and sisters." Seniors and seniors sound weird and awkward, Xiong Yuan said heartily, but he was very affectionate and took Xiao Yin into the valley. In the valley, a few rays of sunlight fell, and the beautiful scenery of Tianming Valley was even more revealed. Xiong Yuan walked slowly with Xiao Yin, and the people around him cast strange glances. The disciples of Tianminggu all wore the same clothes. Xiao Yan's alternative clothes naturally attracted a lot of people's attention. But with Xiong Yuan by his side, no one to ask. From time to time, I heard some people respectfully salute Xiong Yuan and say hello, because Xiong Yuan's hearty personality is also quite popular in the valley. In a blink of an eye, I came to a place called Xingxingtai. Xiao Yin was surprised by the structure of Xingxingtai. A small mountain-like Xingxingtai was suspended in the air, and its area was extremely small. From time to time, many people came and went. Xiong Yuan looked at Xiao Yan's surprised expression and smiled, but he was not much surprised. Thinking of the worthless appearance when he came, a trace of love ignited in his heart. "Let's go. I'll take you up and have a look," Xiong Yuan said softly, his figure slowly rising. Xiao Yin also followed and flew up slowly, and then he was greeted by countless people sitting cross-legged in them. Everyone's body was scattered with dazzling light, and countless powerful breath came on his face. The entire star platform rippled like ripples on the water. In each ripple, there were many cultivators sitting cross-legged, and their bodies were scattered with dazzling light. Xiao Yin was a little shocked. He was the first to see such a huge scale of cultivation. He remembered that there had never been such a lineup in the medicine refining competition that year. "It's really terrifying," Xiao Yin said with a smile. His gaze swept immediately and finally stopped under a stone monument. The three large characters of Xingxingtai, shining with strange brilliance, caught Xiao Yan's eyes. Then, as Xiong Yuan stepped into the star platform, a strange energy came overwhelming, and the vindictiveness in his body actually fluctuated with a hint of improvement.